Hey you guys, so as you can tell, my makeup looks great. It kind of goes without saying. I'm sorry that you can't be me. So this is the makeup that Luke did on me in the boyfriend does my makeup tag, and I've been wanting to do a video kind of like this for a while, and then I was like, what a great opportunity. This is entitled How to Fix Your Fuck Ups. So essentially we're going to take this makeup that's all fucking crazy and we're going to make it somewhat half decent. Alright, let's do this. I'm going to start by removing my eyelashes because they drive me crazy and they're placed like into my crease, so I'm just going to take those off. Okay, so I'm going to assess the damage here. I kind of wish that Luke had fucked up more than he did because I feel like I don't have enough to fix, but we're gonna go for it anyways. The first thing I'm gonna say to you guys is whenever you mess something up, don't freak out. Even if you're working on a client, don't worry. Typically, you can save it. It's just, I find that a lot of people when they're starting out in makeup, they get really nervous and then they start freaking out and they're like, holy crap, I ruined everything and now it's gonna look like shit and the clients are gonna hate me, or it's gonna take a really long time to fix my own makeup or whatever. Sometimes, like in this situation, it would probably just be quicker for me to just remove the makeup and restart, but you can always salvage something. So first step is just to be calm. It's gonna be okay. So I'm going to take a makeup remover wipe, and I think that this is important when you're working on clients because sometimes I find it a little bit invasive to have Q-tips near the eye. I personally don't like when people try to remove my makeup with Q-tips. So what I normally do is I take a cloth like this, if I'm going to be fixing up eyeliner, and it's just a makeup remover wipe, and I'm just going to go like that and start to remove the eyeliner like that. So obviously this isn't going to save your foundation much, but it is going to start to give us a good edge to work with for our eyeliner. I'm going to go ahead and go over my foundation. The foundation is just a little bit uneven and it kind of has some caking right around here. So I'm just going to go over it and apply my foundation first. Downward strokes and then circular motions and patting. You never want to go like this and brush across. You never want to brush upwards because brushing upwards is going to make the foundation stick to any hairs on the face. It's also going to make it a little bit easier, I find, for it to settle into all your little cracks and crevices that you don't really want being shown, unlike when Lucas did it. So yeah, I'm just going to do downward strokes and then patting motions. Luke also did my foundation a little bit too dark, so if you ever kind of do maybe a client's makeup or foundation on yourself that is just a little bit too dark, sometimes what I'll do is I'll take a lighter foundation that's maybe, let's say the foundation is like 1 to 2 shades darker, I'll take a foundation that's 1 to 2 shades lighter, and I'll just dot it all over the face, and I'll kind of just go and buff it in, rather than taking off the foundation completely and starting again. Some people like to do that if they feel like the face makeup is just like not working for them, but personally, especially when you're working on clients, I just feel like it's a little bit more time consuming and it's also rougher on their skin if you remove everything, have to re-moisturize, have to redo their foundation, as opposed to just quickly dabbing on another color and buffing it in. I'm also going to take this down my neck because Luke neglected to do so, and get right up close to my ears there and my hairline. And then what you can do is if you do have a little bit too much foundation applied, you can either take a damp beauty blender or even just your fingers and just kind of go over the spots that you feel like need to be lessened a little bit and just blend that in. Okay, so Luke did not apply concealer at all, so I'm just going to, except for to fix my eye makeup, so I'm just going to quickly dab some on. This is also going to be getting rid of the fallout that he had kind of left under here. So whenever you do have fallout, typically, unless it's like a black shadow, but even sometimes then, I will just take my concealer brush, the brush that I use to blend out my concealer, and I will just go over top of it and blend it away. And usually, again, unless it's a super dark shadow, it will get rid of the fallout and blend it away so that you don't have to kind of go in with like a makeup remover and remove your fallout. You can usually just buff it away with your concealer brush and it's generally okay. So I'm going to go ahead and fix my brows. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to take a spoolie brush and I'm going to brush through them. I'm going to brush down and up because Luke had set them with a clear brow gel, so they're kind of like set into place. So basically I'm going to just brush through them to kind of break up that clear brow gel. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the same concealer brush that I had and I'm going to brush through them to start to break up that excess product and make them a little bit softer through the front because they're pretty freaking crazy right now. So I'm going to go ahead and take my gimme brow in dark, and I'm just going to brush that through the brows first The reason why I'm doing this is because I kind of want to see where I'm going to need to fill it in and where I can kind of leave my product, because again, it is quite heavy through the front already, so it might just be fine if I just put the gimme brow through the front. I'm gonna go ahead and take my dip brow and start to reshape my eyebrows, and I know that there's areas that I'm going to have to clean up, but basically I'm just going to apply my eyebrows first and then do all of my cleanup at the end to make it a little bit easier. You might want to try and clean it up with concealer first if you feel like you're gonna be too distracted, but I'm just gonna go for it. So I'm just going ahead and shaping my eyebrows properly. So I'm just starting at the bottom and extending out towards my tail and just feathering in the top there instead of doing a straight line. Okay, so now that I've filled my eyebrows into where I want them to be, I'm gonna go ahead and clean them up with concealer and a little tiny brush. So sometimes when you're doing your brows, you'll just kind of like go out of the lines, you'll go a little crazy, and it's really easy to clean them up. Just take a really small brush that's not fluffy and go in with your concealer and you can clean them up really easily. You want to make sure that you're cleaning off your brush in between strokes, just on the back of your hand or whatever, and try and do like one kind of solid line just to get it a little bit sharper. And then I'm just going to take a tiny bit of concealer through the front half of my brows and just brush upwards a little bit to kind of soften that front half. So for my eyeshadow, I actually kind of wish that Luke had fucked it up a little bit more, but I kind of see what he was going for, so I'm going to try and just make what he did a little bit better. And he didn't apply an eyeshadow base, so I am going to take my eyeshadow base just literally right over top of the eyeshadow that I already have here. I'm going to start at the brow, and I'm going to pull it downwards if I already have eyeshadow on. And the reason why I'm doing this is because if you start at the lash line kind of thing, or like in the crease with your eyeshadow base, and pull it upwards, it's going to pull that muddy eyeshadow up towards the brow bone, which is going to be horrible, and it's not going to be able to be saved as easily. So I'm just going to go over top of it now, starting from that brow bone and then working my way down, pulling downwards. And I'm going to try and leave this eyeliner so I can show you how I would correct that. So I'm just essentially making sure that I have my eyeshadow base in my crease at the very least. That would obviously be a little bit harder to do if you were wearing like black eyeshadow over top and you were trying to apply a base, but yeah, Luke gave me a little bit of an easier job, so. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take a neutral eyeshadow and just apply that all over top to start to neutralize my base again. And he used kind of a dusty rose eyeshadow all over the lid, so I'm just going to do that. And I'm just going to pack it on with a small brush. Oh, you know what I actually want to do? Okay, I didn't want to change up his makeup look, but I'm going to. I think he was trying to go for a little bit of definition in the crease, so I'm going to take a little bit of a darker brown on this tiny brush and just define my crease a little bit. And then I'm just going to blend out that outer crease. The other thing that you can do is, let's say that you blend too high with this color and you don't want it that close to the brow bone, you can take a small shader brush with your highlight color and just start to slowly shade down over top, if that makes sense. So I know that that's a big one, especially when people are working with clients. Sometimes they'll blend it up too high and the client will be like, man, that's fucked up. I don't want it all high like that. Super easy to correct. Just take a really kind of light shadow and starting at the brow bone, just gently shade down. I'm just darkening that crease a little bit more. And then I'm actually just going to take ColourPop's Birthday Girl eyeshadow because it's really pretty and I just want to use it. So sorry Luke, but I'm not going to follow your thing exactly. And I'm going to apply that over top. Oh my god, yes! And that's also going to start to go over my liner, which we need to fix anyways, so there you go. So I'm just applying that with my finger to get the kind of texture of the shadow going. So I'm pretty sure that Luke was trying to go for a winged eyeliner effect, but he just didn't quite get it there. So I'm going to go ahead and go over that and make it an actual winged liner. So first and foremost, when I am correcting a liquid liner, and you can't really see it anymore, so we're basically just going to do this from scratch, but when you're correcting a liquid liner, you kind of have two choices. You can either try and, let's say you made it too thick, you can either try and take like a concealer or an eyeshadow base and kind of go over the eyeliner, and one way to do that is the same way that I did the eyeshadow base, which is apply it above the liner and just drag down. Wipe off your brush, apply it above the liner, drag down, and just keep doing that until you like get rid of the liner completely. Obviously that's a little bit harder if you've already kind of applied your eyeshadow and it's where you want it to be. So then you can kind of decide, okay, do I just want to go for it and do like a really intense winged liner? And typically that's just like, you may as well, man. It may not be the exact look that you were going for, but if it's going to be easier for you to correct it, then that's the way to do it. So when it comes to correcting eyeliner, the one thing that I think is really big to do is like you want to make sure that you're going in smooth lines. So I'm going to try and just kind of apply my eyeliner sloppily here so I can kind of show you how to correct it. So let's say that I just kind of have a little bit out there, it's bumpy in here, and you know, it's a little crazy over here. The first thing I'm going to do is not panic. I'm going to take some gel liner on an angle brush, and I'm going to start from the very tip of where the eyeliner is, and I'm going to connect it down to get rid of that bump in there. Just continue to do that until the lines connect. So essentially you're taking it from the highest point of the bump to the second highest point, if that makes sense. And you're just filling in that gap. And then I'm going to take my winged eyeliner brush and go right from the inner corner and connect those lines there. And your winged eyeliner might end up being thicker than you want it to, but you just gotta go for it at that point, man. It's just how it has to be. So my winged eyeliner is a little bit bumpy in this area, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a very, very tiny brush, and this is the Smith 202 brush, and I'm just going to go over by holding my brush down. Like, don't like continually pick it up like that. Just try and do one solid swoop. So next what I'm going to do here is fix up the edge of my winged liner, and I'm going to take a sharp concealer brush with my eyeshadow base or concealer, whatever you want, and I'm going to take it from the bottom of the winged eyeliner, relax my eye a little bit so that the skin is not all crazy, and then just one quick swoop upwards. So then you're kind of left with this. Your edge is pretty clean, but it's all crazy right there. You're just going to pull down with your concealer brush. Okay, so next I'm going to be applying my eyelashes, and if you guys watched the video, Luke applied my eyelashes really high up on my eyelid. This is something that's a little bit tricky, especially when you first start working on clients. I know people get really nervous about gluing people's eyes shut and stuff like that, but you also don't want to glue their eyelashes on super far away from their lash. So what you essentially want to do with lashes is you want to get them as close to the lash line as humanly possible. They should never be on the lashes, in my opinion, but some artists do choose to do that depending on what they're doing. Personally, I wouldn't do that to myself or clients just because you can damage the natural lash doing so. So my first tip for applying false lashes is to not have too much glue on there. If you have too much glue, it's going to be super sloppy, it's not going to dry properly, it's going to be wet on the eye, which can sometimes cause your eye to water. If it's a lash glue that has any kind of scent whatsoever, the fumes from the scent can sometimes irritate the eye if there's too much glue on there. So just apply a small amount, let it sit on the lash for 10 to 15 seconds because you shouldn't need more than that if you applied a small enough amount. And then what I do is I take my tweezers and I apply it first to the center, and I just kind of let it adhere for a little bit. I try not to move it around too much yet. I just stick it on the center, let it rest for a second, and then I'll go ahead and attach my corners. And then once I attach each side, I kind of just like wiggle it on to make sure that it's pressed on there properly. And when I'm doing my inner corner, I'll typically turn my face just a little bit like this. So I'm looking kind of down into the side of my mirror, and then I'll apply my inner corner. And the reason why I look down to the side is that I can get into my inner corner easier. Sometimes when I'm looking straight on, I find it difficult to get right in there. And I will just press that on as well. And then I leave my lash completely for probably about 5 minutes before applying any mascara, just to make sure that it's properly adhered. If you do apply your lash a little crazy or whatever, you can either completely remove it and try it again, or you can remove it a little bit and just adhere the corner that isn't applied quite correctly. Luke didn't apply any eyeshadow or mascara under the lower lash line, but I wanted to, so I did it. In my opinion, Luke's biggest mistake was not filling in my beauty marks, so I'm going to go ahead and correct that. I'm just using the Tarte Precision Longwear liner in brown, I guess. And I'm literally just going to dot over top of my beauty mark. I did say that I felt like it was a cop-out that Luke did nude lipstick, so it would be a bit of a cop-out if I just continued to do nude lipstick. So I'm going to show you guys how to correct lips should you mess them up, and I'm going to be using red lipstick for this. So this is Anastasia Beverly Hills liquid lipstick in Spicy. So I'm going to apply that all over the lips first. Just kind of sloppily so you can fix it up. Oh, it got on my teeth. So let's just go like that. And like this. Excellent. So I'm going to let this set first. Okay, so what I'm going to do now that this is all set is I'm going to take a really small brush and some concealer. And I'm just going to go ahead and kind of smile. And go over any bits that need to be fixed. So I can blend that concealer out in a second, but I just want to go over this area first. And I'm wiping off my brush between strokes here to make sure that we're not keeping that red on the brush. And notice how I'm doing kind of just one stroke as opposed to continually going over it. Oh my god, these motherfucking sirens. So now I can blend up my concealer a little bit. So now that that's cleaned up and looking a little bit less fucked up, I'm just gonna go over that spot there. I'm gonna take my liquid lipstick on a little brush, not picking up too much product. I'm going to line my lips with the brush. And again, just doing kind of long strokes to make sure that it is a nice, solid, smooth line. And you're just basically using the edge of the brush, not the tip. So instead of holding it to my lips like this, I'm using the very edge. And there you have it. So now I'm just going to quickly apply my contour and bronzer. And the one big mistake that people make with this is doing it too low, which can sometimes make it look a little bit muddy and it just isn't very flattering. So to correct that, what you want to do is after you've applied your bronzer or contour, whatever you're using, you can just take your foundation brush and literally just like swipe upwards to kind of get rid of that and diffuse that line to make sure that you're bringing that contour back up. It's super simple. It's not going to mess up your contour. It's just going to be really quick to bring that back up so you're actually lifting the cheekbone and making it a little bit less muddy. The other thing is that if your contour is a little bit too dark, you can literally just take your foundation brush and stipple over top to kind of get rid of it, or use a sponge or whatever works best. So that is everything, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something cool today. Let me know what you'd like to see next in the comments below, and you can also let me know if there's any other things that you typically fuck up with your makeup that you want to know how to fix. Okay, bye guys.